Hello, my Piscean sweethearts, and welcome to your March 2023 reading. So we're sticking with mostly like the style of reading that I've been doing previously, only we are adding one of my new favorite decks, which is an astrology deck. Even though it's a collective reading for Pisces sun or rising signs, you can check out your moon. However, I recommend your rising or sun. We are looking at how we can maybe like focus the reading a little bit more so that we understand what the bigger themes are or which area of life this is actually happening in, right? So which area of life are we doing this reading in, or what major themes are coloring your reading so that we can maybe help to focus what the information is about. So, of course, still apply it to however it feels applicable to your life. But I wanted to do something extra. I'm experimenting with doing something a little bit extra so that we can get a sense of like what area of life this is really coming up in. So there we go. And I'm feeling that, and this card here. And I'm also feeling this one. Here we go. All right, just laid out really nicely. So let's take a look at what's coming up throughout the month for you, challenge, and your spiritual advice. So starting out with the beginning of the month, we have the Queen of Swords, then we move into the Nine of Cups, which I think is interesting, and the King of Cups. Really loving that you've got some Cups energy coming through, especially as a Pisces. The Five of Pentacles showing up in your challenge position, and the Four of Cups showing up as your spiritual advice. Now, overall, what we can look at with the conjunction card that is showing up, so this is what theme is kind of coloring your experience. Talking about conjunctions, this is the energies coming together, like when two planets are right on top of each other, right next to each other, and they're working in conjunction, like they're almost inseparable. Like you can't distinguish one energy from the other. I feel like that's super appropriate for Pisces kind of energy, right? Pisces energy is this blending and lack of boundaries, right? Like this kind of merging and all oneness kind of experience where it's really hard to distinguish what one from the other. It's hard to distinguish one energy from the other, one person from the other. And so there is this kind of energy showing up in your experience. And so that's something to just kind of note, see where that theme might be showing up in your life, either with maybe friendships or business partnerships or relationships or just like different areas of your life where they feel like indistinguishable and they feel like they're inseparable, right? So that's kind of what the conjunction energy is that's showing up here, which I find really interesting. So we're moving into the beginning of the month with the Queen of Swords, and there's something that needs to be expressed, and I think that it has to do with this conjunction energy, right? So when we create boundaries through our verbal communication, we create distinction. We create sometimes that kind of compartmentalization, those boundaries, those walls that need to be there for like to understand the framework is necessary. Sometimes we need to speak out what there is that needs to be spoken about our personal truth or what we're feeling or seeing or sensing, especially Pisces sensing, right? And so in order to create the construct or to create the structure within which we can work with other people or within which a situation will work or it won't work, right? So it's necessary to pay attention to these aspects. And so this is a time where at the beginning of March, you're either going to feel called to do this or you're being called out to do this, to speak out about what there is that you're sensing or feeling or seeing, and to not mince words. This is not meaning that you need to be sharp and cold and harsh about it. I mean, Queen of Swords, like I joke around that gets the nickname Queen Bitch because like, yes, it can be really like cold and sharp and like really sharp tongue, but it doesn't have to be. So like watch your communication. Just because you are needing to create maybe spoken boundaries or to speak something out that has been maybe suppressed or needing to be expressed doesn't mean that it needs to come out in ways that are not conscious. So utilize your skills around conscious communication, basic active listening and empathy and all of those things, and respectful communication while you're doing this. So we move into the middle of the month, and what we have here showing up is the Nine of Cups. You know, the Nine of Cups I really love because there is a sense of feeling like you have accomplished or achieved certain things. Perhaps this might feel really challenging or difficult for you. I know that if you have really strong Piscean placements, right, and if you tend to have things that are not in your natal chart that support these kinds of communications or like, you know, boundaries being created, it can feel really challenging or difficult. Maybe you might feel avoidant or like you want to escape from having to like do these types of things. So you might have like really had these conversations that needed to be had to create some distinction between yourself and other in some way. And you come into the Nine of Cups and this feels like, man, I did that. Like I accomplished that. That was something that needed to happen. And so feeling a sense of pride or accomplishment and maybe even being recognized for that, maybe being appreciated for that. So this is also a card of abundance. Like you know, have gotten to a certain place where there are things around you and you need to kind of like open your perspective to be able to recognize the things in your life that there are to be appreciative of. So, and I don't mean in a really surface way. I mean like that deep kind of devotional, faith-based, loving, spiritual space that you can come from, that you can really have authentic appreciation for the things in your life. So really beautiful energy, like progressing through the month, coming into some really soft, definitely very Piscean energy at the end of the month here with the King of Cups. Now, for some of you, maybe this has to do with a relationship. Maybe it has to do with meaning that somebody is coming in or that you're dealing with a water sign also. But definitely like the King of Cups, one of the things that I love about the King of Cups is that you can be a sensitive leader. You can be someone who has the more sensitive and soft aspects and rule with like gentle strength. That's the phrase that's coming through, is gentle strength, right? And so with the King of Cups, there is ability, like this ability to rule with access to all of your emotions, not shying away from all of the emotions that might feel difficult. I know it might feel a little bit tempting to want to really escape from the world because of how harsh and intense it can really be. And maybe you do need some time to escape in a healthy way and in a conscious way. And that's totally good and fine and well. But the King of Cups is able to rule his kingdom with the ability to have access and to feel fully all of his emotions, right? So this is the ability to feel all of the emotions that you have, the depth of your emotions, the highs, the lows, the extremes to one side or the other, and everything in between on the gradient scale, and to still be able to step into a place of leadership with your own life or with a project, or to lead a team. You can utilize your strengths and still have access to all of your emotions, and it provides a different kind of wisdom that not everybody has access to, that allows you to rule and to lead in a different way, a more compassionate way, a more empathetic way, a more understanding way, because you can really feel and sense all of the different perspectives when you have access to all of your emotions. So when we take a look at what's coming through as a challenge, we have the Five of Pentacles, right? Now, the Five of Pentacles can definitely in a challenge position be talking about feeling like out in the cold, like it's all on your shoulders, like victimhood. And this is basically your challenge is going to be that while you are in this space, while you're expressing, while you're in this like space of appreciation, while you're having access to your emotions, while you're feeling into the conjunction kind of energy, that, whatever is coming up in that space is not for you to feel like you are the outsider, to feel like you are, sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze, to not feel like you are out in the cold doing this alone, right? This can have the feeling of loss, or like you don't have access to the resources that you feel like you need to move forward, to create what it is that you want to create the kingdom that you want to create, to lead the kingdom that you want to create, to create like, and whether I'm calling it kingdom, but use that metaphorically how it applies to you, right? So the Five of Pentacles can have us feeling like I'm in lack, I'm lacking what I need to be able to create it. Why do those people to get to create it and they have access to resources that I don't have, right? Like that kind of victim space. And so you want to make sure to check yourself and make sure that you're not moving into these kinds of spaces, because it's not going to actually serve you. What would actually serve you, which I think is definitely in alignment with this card, the Nine of Cups, is we have the Four of Cups, right? Now in a position that is more about your spiritual support and like the kind of advice that you're getting, the Four of Cups is definitely talking about like recognizing the cups that are full, right? Not focusing on the past mistakes, not focusing on like, you know, being overly hyperly focused on what it is that you, how it's supposed to look. Like, oh, it doesn't look this way, it doesn't feel this way, it was supposed to look and feel this way, I only wanted it to look and feel this specific way. And that can really limit you in your ability to recognize when opportunities are coming through. Like usually this actually has a hand that is kind of like offering this cup to the person, and they're not even seeing it. Either they're choosing not to look at it and they're turned and only focused on this, or they're just not even seeing it at all. And I think you're going to miss a lot of different opportunities and assistance that's coming in through your guidance system, whatever that is, universe, angels, guides, fairies, I don't know. But whatever it is that you believe in, and like you're being offered assistance, and you need to be able to keep your awareness open, widen your perspective so that you can actually recognize that and appreciate and open your arms to those other opportunities. While they may not necessarily like look and feel exactly how you were wanting them to look and feel, that's not the point. Like your spirit guides are basically coming in and saying like, hey, you need to recognize we're trying to help you out, and it may not look or feel the way that you thought it was supposed to. You can't get into a place of apathy or complacency or to ignore these things. Like you need to open your eyes, like widen your perspective so that you can take advantage of these things and recognize like what's coming through for you and appreciate that. Like let go of this, how it's supposed to be, right? Let go of that. And the judgments that you might have around things being like boring or not how they're supposed to be or whatever it is, and step into the realm of possibility and what is showing up for you. So if you want like a greater picture of like how this has been unfolding, you can go back and take a look at the Pisces new moon reading that happened towards the end of February, or you can look at the March full moon reading that's for Pisces that'll be coming out on March 7th, so just in a few days after this video has been released, depending on when you're watching this in the month, right? You can go check those out. So I'll probably put a link in the comments and pin that there as soon as that's out and up, something like that. But yeah, if you want to get a specific reading and you want to know specifically what this is for you, all of the information is down in the description box for booking a 30, 60, or 90-minute reading. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video, whichever one it is that you choose to watch. Thanks for being here. Bye.